It's a big bald-headed sister. Action Jacqueline. Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the show. Thanks for watching the Ball Girls Gossip Room. Today I'm going to do the Ball Girl news a little bit because something really interesting happened in the Ball Girl news world today. Well, not today, but this past week. Former band member Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child. Y'all know her, right? You know, she's on Broadway these days. She's doing Death Becomes Her. That's the name of the Broadway play. I saw the movie, but I never saw it on Broadway before. The movie came out years and years ago. Probably was a book. I have no idea, but I would like to see it. Anyway, I don't want to get caught up in that. Basically, I'm here because I want to talk about what happened to poor Michelle while she was on stage, okay? And I thought it was really interesting because it made me think about wigging, which is what I'm always thinking about, right? That's always the topic of my conversations, right? Thinking about wigging and how many times I've heard people say to me, you know, I want to wear a wig, but I'm scared, right? Y'all really do have something to be afraid of. That's what I want to say here and now. For those of you who are afraid to wear a wig, you're probably right to be afraid. And I apologize if I've ever told you, oh, it's no big deal. Just get you a nice wig. Don't worry. No, you got to have to take like maybe a class or two, like maybe some, I don't know, online classes. Maybe Google has a class. I don't know, but you have to take some sort of class on how to style hair in order to wear today's wigs. Because the wigs everybody wants, the lace wigs, they're not always easy. And we saw that with Michelle on stage. Although Michelle has stylists, like the whole thing was out of control. Let me just go ahead and run the clip for you guys. Hello, by the way, I'm your big bald-headed sister, Action Jacqueline. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ball Girls Gossip Room. I'm going to go ahead and roll the clip about poor Michelle. I'll first read about it. Hang on, let me open it. All right, here it is. There she is, y'all. Michelle Williams of Destiny's Child, former band member. And I'm really upset about that this happened because I know she has stylists, or at least I hope she has stylists. Everything is not always as glamorous as we think it is, right? So while we think she may have stylists, she might be her very own stylist. I don't know. But y'all, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read what happened to poor Michelle on her Broadway stage. Okay, I'm reading from the Atlanta Black Star, and this was reported on December 11th. How's it going, everybody out there, by the way? Let me go ahead and jump into my... I'm sorry. I'm being slow, as usual. What's new, right? Hey guys. Okay, now I can see my TikTok chat as well as my YouTube chat, and I love that for us all because it makes it more fun when you guys chime in. So make sure that you like the live. Make sure that you are following. Make sure that you hang out because we have some fun stuff to talk about today. Hang on, let me get this. All right, so poor Michelle Williams was performing a couple days ago on Broadway here in New York, and her wig was acting a fool. I'm going to blame it on the wig. I'm not going to blame it on anybody else because we don't know. Like I said, when I premised this story, wigs are not for the weak. And even the best of us can get caught out there, right? And it happens to me all the time. Well, not all the time, but more times than I like to talk about. I've gotten really good at finding a mirror, noticing that my hair is a mess, and then fixing it within seconds. So I kind of trick myself into believing things are better than they are. But like, I know for a fact that when I first see the mirror, something is definitely off about my wig. I'm just really quick about fixing it. It's a mess. Anyway, so let's talk about poor Michelle Williams. Okay, so Atlanta Black Star reporting December 12th. Okay. Your wig is detaching from your head. Michelle Williams loses the crowd after fans notice something she couldn't keep in place. Michelle Williams is getting roasted over a clip from one of her many Broadway plays. And it's not her vocals catching heat. No one's questioning her talent, but something else entirely is getting dragged all over social media. The former Destiny's Child member was fully in character as Viola Van Horn in Death Becomes Her, a role she's held since November 2024, while belting out "Don't Say I Didn't Warn You." Williams looked stunning on stage, but one distracting flaw had fans shaking their heads instead of applauding. Williams, dressed in a black, sparkly hooded dress, performed live on the Today Show to celebrate the first anniversary of the play in October. However, zoomed-in shots show the singer should have spent more time in hair and makeup, as viewers noticed Williams' wig was not fully secured on her head. Okay, so I got it wrong. I thought she was on Broadway when this happened, but no, apparently she was on the Today Show. The issue seems to be concentrated around her temples, where the wig's lace looked lifted instead of secured to her scalp. Don't worry, y'all. I'm going to show you footage as I scroll down, okay? The forehead area, by contrast, was well blended and showed no visible lines of demarcation, making the lifted section stand out even more on camera. However, fans could not seem to focus on her performance because her hair looked like it was moments away from lifting clean off her head. Damn it! Let's roll the clip. Let me see if I can get some sound here. Do we even need sound? I mean, like, can y'all see my pointer? Look at that. That is so bad. That is like garish. Garish. All right, I'm gonna. Jeez Louise. Let's look at it one more time. If you want to hear it, just I guess go to Instagram. It's here on Instagram. Okay. Here she is. Let me see if I can rewind it for y'all. Refresh. There it is. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, this is the stuff nightmares are made of. Okay, so this is what I mean when I say that wigs are not for the weak, and they're not for the very fresh. Like I actually took the time out to ask ChatGPT the top 5 wig types for beginners, because I think that's really important. And if I've ever been guilty of telling any wig wearer or potential wig wearer that not to worry, you'll be able to find something very easily, you know, I was wrong for saying that. It's not true. It's not true anymore. I guess when I stopped wearing wigs, I started wearing wigs 150 years ago. Maybe it was easy then, but it's not easy now because lace wigs have come into play. And I feel like no one should be just handed over a lace wig because we just saw that, right? That was heinous, y'all. That was actually heinous. But we're going to talk about the list of the 5 best wig types for new wig wearers. And then I'm going to show you the wig that I had been working on for a long time. I don't know if this is your first time watching me or not. If it is, welcome. I'm your big bullheaded sister, Action Jacqueline, Alopecia Princess. I thank you for tuning in. And if it's not, then hopefully you saw, oh, look, I'm getting all kind of static here from the computer. Hopefully you saw a few of my other videos and you know that I have been looking for a really, really good human hair wig because I really like wearing human hair wigs in the wintertime. They behave much better than synthetic hair wigs. I don't know if you don't know what I'm talking about. Basically what I'm saying is like, this is a synthetic hair wig. This is the wig that I wore today when I ran to the mall. And I just threw it on really fast. Um, so yeah, they don't be looking good. Let me tell you, wigs are really they're troublesome. They are troublesome, and I do recommend that you watch a lot of YouTube videos. Sorry, y'all. Ooh. That you watch a lot of YouTube videos. Read as much up as you can about how to apply wigs. It really is. I'm not trying to scare you or anything like that, but it's just something that I think we should not take for granted if we already do wear wigs and we've been wearing wigs for years. It might seem to somebody else, it might seem like it's easy because we know a little something about wigs, but it really isn't easy. And I've been reminded of that recently ever since I went blonde, because being blonde as a bald girl or a wig girl is a different ball game. It was something I didn't know was going to pose as much of a problem, but yeah, there's a lot of levels to this wig thing, and there's areas that even if you wear wigs regularly, you might not even be familiar with because of the styles that you choose, or maybe the amount of hair that you have, or even the fact that you might go to salons and have your wigs installed, and somebody else might put their wig on every day. So we have to have a lot of grace when we see people out and about and their wigs are not looking up to snuff. We got to give them a lot of grace. We can't just assume everybody knows what they're doing. And we got to stop telling people, "Oh, just get a wig, girl. It's so easy." It seems like that's the common conversation that I hear a lot amongst women with hair who like to wear wigs. So many times I hear them say, "Oh, from now on, I'm just going to start wearing wigs. It's going to be so much easier." And I'm like, is it easier really to wear wigs? First of all, it costs money, right? It costs money. Second, you still have to maintain it somehow. It still needs to be styled and restyled. Let me just wet this thing. It still needs to be cared for. And it also has to be replaced quite frequently, if you ask me. Some might argue and say, "Well, no, I only buy one wig a year." I mean, more power to you if you're able to do that, but not me. And in fact, like I said, since going blonde, it's been particularly frustrating to find a good quality human hair wig. Every time I buy a wig, it seems that it arrives styled and smelling good and, looking pretty. And then it takes just a few hours of wear before I realize that the wig hair was damaged during the bleaching process. And I don't know, for a long time, it didn't even occur to me when you buy a wig that it was bleached. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I would say, like, I just want a red wig. So somehow in my simple mind, I would just imagine that somebody out there had red hair and they cut it, or, something I just didn't even think about. So when I went blonde, it never occurred to me that all this hair is just black hair that's been bleached. It never occurred to me that that was the case, and that so many times it's damaged. The hair is damaged during bleaching, and they'll sell you the wig anyway, because really, the hair industry is not really the most ethical place. Let me tell you. Let me just say that right now. And I have stories to back it up, to say that it's just not an ethical place. They'll sell you anything. Maybe they expect you to know. Maybe they expect people to know that, okay, this is some bleached hair, so you are going to experience some damage. But no one says that. It's not like written on the box. The salesperson is never going to tell you. You're just kind of there trying to figure things out on your own with this wig that has, 10,000 strands of hair, and you're supposed to just know how to style it and know how to lay it down, make the lace look right, and then you end up looking like poor Michelle Williams. So I don't even think I finished reading that article, so I'm going to go ahead and finish reading it. Hang on. Just look at it, y'all. Just look how bad that is. Okay. Let me refresh it so you can see the hairline again. I just got to look at it one more time. Okay, so I'm going to read it again. And this time, I'm going to leave it up on the screen so y'all can scrutinize it as I... Am I being a mean girl right now? I'm not being a mean girl, I promise. This is from one bald girl to another girl who wears wigs for whatever reason she chooses, okay? I'm not being mean, but we got to analyze why this happened, how we can prevent it from happening, if we can prevent it from happening, and alternatives in case we're just not able to prevent it from happening, right? Sorry, I still have a little cold, y'all. That's another thing about the winter time. I'm sick all winter. I have the sniffles. It's so embarrassing. Atlanta Black star Michelle Williams. Oh, what happened? Atlanta Black star Michelle Williams wig. Okay. So for those of you who are just joining, we're here analyzing Michelle Williams's wig. She was on the Today Show. Now I'm going to say it properly because I didn't say it right the first time. She was on the Today Show performing, and her wig was doing this. It was doing this. It was doing that. Can y'all see? Make this bigger so you can really see what it was doing. Oh gosh. And like I said, who do you blame for that? I don't know. She could have been sweating. I'm sure it was hot under those lights. Maybe she's nervous. Who knows? It could have been because of too much makeup. It could have been because she actually wore it the whole entire day and then it starts to lift. I don't know. But these are all things. I think if you're a regular wig wearer, you probably experienced this. I have most certainly experienced glancing in a mirror and noticing that my wig was lifting. It was never to that point, but we are going to discuss today how we can prevent things like that from happening because that is just unacceptable, y'all. Wig wearing is not for the weak. Wigs are not for the weak. Let's look at it again. All right. So Michelle Williams is getting roasted over a clip from one of her many Broadway plays. And it's not her vocals catching heat. No one's questioning her talent, but something else entirely is getting dragged all over social media. The former Destiny's Child member was fully in character as Viola Van Horn in Death Becomes Her, a role she's held since November 2024. While belting out Don't Say I Didn't Warn You, Williams looked stunning on stage, but one distraction flaw had fans shaking their heads instead of applauding. Williams, dressed in a black sparkly hooded dress, performed live on the Today Show to celebrate the first anniversary of the play in October. However, zoomed-in shots show the singer should have spent more time in hair and makeup, as viewers noticed Williams' wig was not fully secured on her head. The issue seemed to be concentrated around her temples, where the wig's lace looked lifted instead of secured to her scalp. The forehead area, by contrast, was well blended and showed no visible lines of demarcation, making the lifted section stand out even more on camera. However, fans could not seem to focus on her performance because her hair looked like it was moments away from lifting clean off her head. A fan-based page called Destiny's Child Brazil reshared the video with the intent to show Williams some love, but not every fan followed suit. One person, acting as if they were talking to Williams directly, wrote, "Girl, that wig is coming off." Someone else who noticed the wig lifting shared a reason why they think it's happening. They said, "Wig is detaching from your head, too much makeup." A third person pointed the blame elsewhere. They said, "I'm very disappointed in your stylist, Michelle Williams' wig." A fourth person took a different approach and spun the situation into a positive. They said, "So basically the vocals were so good, she snatched her own wig. Not too much on the queen." Aw, okay, that's sweet. Some people may be able to let it slide since it's rare that Williams had a bad hair day. Even from her Destiny's Child days, she kept her hair laid in those sew-ins and extensions. Most of the time, she wears her hair in a long body wave, curl, or straightened, and usually with a middle part, side part, and sometimes with bangs. No matter the style, it typically looked good. And it seems that the Say Yes singer is willing to drop some racks to make sure she's getting the proper tender love and care for her hair on top of a beautiful hairstyle. Back in August, she headed to Broadway to get her hair done by luxury hairstylist D. Michelle. Is D. Michelle responsible for that train wreck of a wig? Oh, D. Michelle. I noticed that Atlanta Black Star did not hesitate to call that name out. So disrespectful. Hang on, let me get these pictures close up. Okay, there they are. So we can look at them a little bit more, scrutinize the photos. Okay. The stylist gave Williams her first invisible K-tip. I don't even know what that is. K-tip hairstyle in what she calls the VIP experience. Based on the clip posted by the stylist, Williams was able to get her hair washed along with a moisture treatment. Her extensions were also custom colored to a honey blonde ombre. According to the stylist, the grand total of the appointment was $7,925. Not for this hair, y'all. I see what Atlanta Black Star is doing here, but I feel like that was a little wrong, especially if they don't know who was responsible for that hairstyle. Oh, wait, they have footage of her hair, what it typically looks like. Okay, hang on. Let's see what that looks like. So this is the salon experience that Michelle spent $7,925 on. That's a lot of money. Makes me feel better about that one time I spent $6,000 on 2 wigs. I'll never do that again, though. So yeah, okay. So what I know, right? What I know about. Hang on, I'm sorry. Let's finish reading this. You can achieve almost any look with this hairstyle, and it lasts up to 3 to 5 months with proper care. What am I saying? Okay, it's possible Williams paid more or less than that because the stylist wrote that in the caption. She said the price. I don't know why we're talking about the hairstyle list and that one hairstyle because we can't assume that that same stylist is responsible for her bad wig mishap. Can we? I don't think we can. Hang on a minute. Well, that's it, y'all. But one thing I do know about Broadway is a lot of times the entertainers will wear wigs because they don't want to damage their own hair or because they have their hair done underneath or for whatever protective style. So I guess they're caught like installing the wig before every show. And if there's not enough time, maybe they're running a little late, then things like this happen. I mean, like I said, I've had my days where my wig wasn't laying, and it happens. It happens more often than I would like it to happen. Honestly, I would be happy if it never happened, but beggars can't be choosers, right? But here I have a wig that I purchased very recently, and it is full of static, y'all. And I don't want to put any product in. Hang on. What can I use? Which one of these products should I use? All right, I'm going to use this Keratin Mist by CHI to try to tame this hair that is riddled with static electricity. Wow. Is that better? It needs tightening. Also, the cap is a little bit uncomfortable, but I colored it today, so I'm more pleased with the color than I was 2 days ago when I wore it out and about. I purchased this wig to take with me on a trip that I'll be going on soon. Okay, I'm gonna have to work on that. But I wanted to wear it around just to see how it behaves before I go on this long excursion that, I won't have the opportunity to do anything else with it. And I'm glad I did, because while I was out, I realized that I didn't quite like the color too much. It was a little bit too bright. I liked it in some lights, and in other lights, it was actually like alarming. Like I was sitting in the car for like 2 hours. I was driving for like 2 or 3 hours, and it was nighttime. I reached my destination, and I walked into this room, and it was very bright. And I passed by a mirror, and I was surprised at how yellow my hair looked. So I knew I had to color it, which I did. I just toned it down a little bit, and I do love how the color came out, but I'm going to have to work on it before I do anything else with it. You guys are being really, really quiet in the chats. If you're out there, I would love to hear from you. Hang on. Here we go. Okay, so I did want to show you how the wig came out, but I'm going to be honest, I have a lot of things going on around me right now, and it's kind of distracting me, so I don't want to talk too much about anything at this moment, but I will come back on and join you. But I'm glad we were able to talk about Michelle Williams and that wig. Oh, and I did tell you, we have time for that. I did tell you I would go through a list of recommendations for beginner wig wearers, because like I said, wigging is not for the weak. There are some things you should know. And if you're really, really brand new, and you don't even have time to like YouTube things or get to know wigs, there is a basic set of rules, so I'll read them for you. So I asked ChatGPT, I said to it, taking into consideration everything I've shared with you about my wig experience and everything you know from my internet sources, please provide a list of the top 5 best wig types for beginners with explanations. So let's go through that list real quick. So if you're a beginner and you want to find a wig, that's easy. The number one top and best wig type for you would be the pre-styled synthetic lace front, standard synthetic, not heat-friendly wig. And that would be the best overall beginner wig. Pre-styled synthetic lace front, standard synthetic, not heat-friendly wig. Okay, so I actually have one of those because I just bought it. I love those kinds of wigs, especially if you're lucky enough to find one that you don't have to do any customizing to. And that's not always easy, because unfortunately there's always some salesperson who is trying to push something down your throat. So that in addition to the fact that there's so many wigs to choose from, and sometimes you can only try on 2 or 3 wigs, it gets really difficult. But that's where wig reviews come in. Just try, if you can, to get your reviews from people who are not paid by the company to review the wig, because if they're getting paid, 7 times out of 10, they're going to be telling you they love it, even if they don't. Okay, but I have one that I actually do love. So I'll share the information with you about that one. This wig right here. And I don't want to lie. I want to make sure I give you the right details about it. I just tried it on the other day for you. And I don't even want to. I don't want to put it on if I can't give you the information. But anyway, I'll put it on right now. This is a sensational wig. Oh no, is it? God, I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you. Look how easily this got on my head, y'all. I'm going to look this up right now and find out which wig it is. And then I want to quickly return back to the list, because I don't want to sidetrack too much, okay? But I also don't want to not give you the information about this wig. That's really important. That's real important detail. Excuse me. Lord have mercy. I have to go into my email to find out because I don't want to tell you about this weekend. Y'all, I'm so distracted. I can't even find this tag. And I know where to find it actually. I just remembered where it is. But in the meantime, before I tell you that, let's go ahead and finish this list. But yeah, this is an example of a non-heat safe freestyle synthetic lace front wig that is recommended if you are a first-time wig wearer. This one is great. You just have to cut out, when you're at that beauty supply store, when you're at that wig shop, just cut out all the outside noise. Don't pay any attention to the sales lady or the salesperson who's going to tell you, oh, that one looks good. Or they'll tell you, oh, we don't have that one, but we have this one and it's just as good. No, if it's not what you want, then it's not just as good. Do you know what I mean? Don't let these people get in your ear. I still suffer from that. In fact, I just paid like $500 for a human hair wig that I don't know why I let the sales lady intimidate me and sell me that wig. I'm not real sure what it was. I have to analyze that because really I should have taken more time with the wig. Maybe I was in a rush. Maybe I was just impressed with everything else besides the wig. I have no idea. I'm usually not that way, but I let it happen. And because I let it happen, it reminds me that it can happen. All you have to do is be in a weird mood. Be in a weird mood, and all of a sudden you can make the wrong decision just based off of your weird mood. Okay, so let's move on. So that was the number one. They're going to tell you now why that's the number one type of wig you should wear. And it says it comes ready to wear. No styling skills required. That's true. Holds its style through humidity, sweat, and daily wear. The lower maintenance than human hair or heat-friendly synthetic. And lace front gives realism without complexity, and it's predictable. Predictable is predictable for days 1 and 2. After that, I don't know if it's as predictable as we like to think it is, but for the most part, he's right. ChatGPT is right. It says, ChatGPT gets things wrong all the time. It says wash, air dry, and wear. That's true. No curly iron anxiety. That's true. No heat damage. That's true. And no frizz battles. I don't know about that. You do get frizzing with synthetic wigs from time to time. So I won't go with that. Okay. And it says what to watch out for. It tells you, watch out for limited restyling. You accept the factory style. Must choose a flattering cut from the start. It's true. Like I said, if you choose the wrong one, you'll really have a hard time. My camera's having a hard time focusing in and out. I want it like that. So the examples they're providing are John Renault Standard Synthetics, Raquel Welch Classic Synthetics, Tressolure Non-Heat Friendly Styles. Okay, so they named like high-end wig brands. So if sometimes I think a lot of times you'll start wearing wigs and you'll be surprised by the price tag. So you'll go for the cheaper wigs. And I would tell you that, yes, you can get them for cheaper than the prices of these John Renault, Raquel Welch, Tressolure wigs for much cheaper, but they won't last as long. And you have to make sure that you know what you're getting into. I talk about this stuff a lot, so make sure you follow my page. You can go through my library of conversations where I'm sure I just talk about this stuff a ton. Okay, so the next one is synthetic monofilament top lace front wigs. Those are great mono tops. That was the first high-end synthetic wig I bought, was a mono top, and it was fantastic. Especially if it has monotop plus lace, because that monotop looks very, very realistic. Here is an example of a mono top. This John Renault wig that you saw me brushing out earlier today. This is an older wig. It's, starting to look a little ratty. I did some work to it. I've been wearing it for a good long while because I sewed in some human hair wefts, blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that later. But this here is what is a mono top. It is different than a regular lace front. Here is a lace front. This is a lace front. Well, actually, this is just a lace part wig. This is a monofilament top. And I don't know if you can see the difference. Ignore that. That's just gel residue. I don't know if you can see the difference, but it's not like regular lace. This is definitely a mono top. And unfortunately, I don't know if the camera really picks up those differences. I hope it does. But yeah, that's a monofilament top cap. And let's see what ChatGPT has to say about it, because I don't know what else to say on my own with regard to that. So he's recommending the second best type of wig for you. If you're brand new to wigs and you know very little about wig or wig styling, this is what it recommends. This type solves the wig looks like a wig fear. Monofilament top mimics real scalp. It really does. It's great. Lace front allows off the face styling. Very true. Still synthetic, still low maintenance. Easy parting without learning ventilation tricks. Absolutely. I do love that. And y'all know I love high-end synthetic wigs. And probably because I love that monofilament top so much. The trade-off is it's slightly higher price than basic lace fronts. And it's still best to avoid heat-friendly fibers at first. Something about those heat-friendly fibers, when you get to the higher end brands, they really, really do not behave well. I definitely recommend you try to avoid the heat-friendly fibers altogether because they're kind of troublesome. I have a couple, and it's not like it's the first time I've ever bought it. So clearly I like them enough so that I keep buying it. Nonetheless, it's just problematic. Okay, so number 3 says human hair blend wig, synthetic dominant blend. This is the best step up wig once basics are learned. Why this works for beginners when done right. Blends offer a forgiving middle ground. Let me be honest with you. I've never found a synthetic blend wig that was any good, honestly. They cost a lot more money than regular synthetics, and they don't exactly behave that much better. They don't, in fact, they might sometimes behave worse. When I do it myself, I know I'm using human hair that is like grade 10A. I won't bother with it unless I know it's at least a grade 10. So when it comes to the manufacturers that blend the human hair wigs into the synthetic wigs, I do wonder if they're using poor grade human hair because it just doesn't seem to stand up the way it should or the way it does when I do it myself. Okay. So it says here it's more durable than 100% human hair. That is true. If it's done right, like when I do it myself. But this, I wouldn't recommend any of this for a first-time wig wearer. For a first-time wig wearer, I would just recommend the synthetic monofilament top, non-heat safe wig. And the reason why I say non-heat safe is I'm going to repeat myself is because the heat safe synthetic wigs are troublesome. They get very, very frizzy and they misbehave a lot. So you're going to have to constantly be in it. And the very best, according to them and to me, is the pre-style synthetic lace front, standard synthetic, non-heat friendly wig. So yeah, that's my recommendation. I'm not even going to bother to read the rest of this. Oh, actually, no, there are some good points. A glueless human hair wig, dark or pre-colored, not 613. Absolutely. A glueless human hair wig is great when it's dark. Pre-colored, I'm not sure what they mean by pre-colored because typically that means that there was some bleaching involved, and once the bleach has touched the hair quality it degrades immediately. And you notice it says not 613, so it's aware of that. But I guess we're talking about reds or whatever. The darker ones, they do okay, even if it's lifted just a couple of shades. That's fine. Best for beginners who insist on human hair. And I do know that a lot of beginners insist on human hair, so it is good that ChatGPT mentioned that. Why this is not number one, but still good. Human hair sounds beginner friendly, but it's actually harder. Why this can work. Natural movement and texture can be restyled, feels familiar to people used to bio hair. But beginners struggle because it needs styling after washing. It reacts to humidity. It needs product discipline. That's true. Like you have to stay strict within your product. You deviate, and all of a sudden, and sometimes from wig to wig, you need different products because it's just like hair. Your natural hair probably required a different maintenance program than my natural hair did when I did have hair. Do you understand what I'm saying? Different products, different shampoo, different conditioner, different styling spritz, whatever. And it says here the mistakes are very expensive, and that is true. Key beginner rule: avoid 613, avoid platinum, avoid custom blonde at first. So he's talking about what the problem that I always encounter with my blonde wigs. Start with dark brown, black, or subtle highlights. That's true. You will enjoy your wigs if you stick to that guide. You will. Because when I was wearing dark wigs, I was very pleased with my wigs most time. These wigs last longer, behave better, and forgive mistakes. And then number 5 is the short synthetic wig. Best for absolute beginners or sensory sensitive wearers. Why this deserves a spot. Short wigs eliminate 90% of wig problems. That is so true. I just bought probably my first short wig that I've had in over 20 something years. And I do love it. I'll show it to you guys later. It works because there's minimal tangling, true. Minimal heat buildup, true. Minimal styling, depends on the style. Minimal shedding, somewhat true. Easy to wash and dry. This is ideal for first-time wearers, people overwhelmed by maintenance, heat-sensitive users, busy lifestyles. I noticed that women who have been wearing wigs for long, like really long, those are the ones who you'll see wearing short wigs the most, because I think there does come a time where you don't want to be fussing with wigs anymore. I think I might be at that place. I'm not sure yet, but I still do love my long wig, so I guess I'm not exactly there. The trade-off, ChatGPT says, is there's less styling variety, and it's more dependent on face shape compatibility. Yeah, not all face shapes favor short hair. I can't wear pixies, although I would love to. When I was a kid, I could because my face was rounder, fuller, but now bobs are for me. Are you leaving? Oh, my husband's leaving. Y'all, thank you for watching. I love you very much. I do have to hop off now. Thanks for joining. Have a fantastic day. Oh, I don't even know how to log out. Took all my strength to get up. Oh, I'd love you to stay. I stayed home early. Then I had a meeting. So I have to go. They had me scheduled. Oh, hey. Going into the truth.